Thank you so much. I am so grateful to be with you all today. I'm Reverend Julie Moret. I'm with the Agape International Spiritual Center, founded and directed by Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. And I mentioned earlier, he sends you his love and greetings. I was just there earlier this morning. And I got so happy when Sharon shared with me your theme of the month, which is embracing self-care. And then the title, the topic for today, the evolution of self-care. I love that because it hadn't really occurred to me, but the societal understanding of self-care, it really has evolved, especially over these last few years. Have you experienced that? Have you noticed that? Because I used to think, like if you said the word self-care, I would think of like, a bubble bath or like a mani-pedi, Um, and years ago, I had a private counseling practice, and I would have these big like CEOs and CFOs, and they would come kind of slinking into my office, like hoping nobody would see them, getting therapy, like not, nobody mentioned that back then. And and that's changed a lot. I have one client now, he's a president of a large tech company, and he'll be on a Zoom with hundreds of employees. And I'll be like, okay, I got therapy, got to go. So I think the idea of self-care has really become normalized. And boy, in the nick of time, because it's so important. So what I would love to do today, because we have such a good sized group, I'd love to kind of workshop self-care, particularly the 5 pivotal pillars of self-care, so that when we leave our time together today, we have as much as you want to play, we can, that we leave here with like a game plan, a sense of how we can strengthen ourselves in every aspect, spiritually, physically, emotionally. And so I'd love to go through these 5 pivotal pillars together. And then we'll kind of workshop each one. So if you feel like playing, this is the place to be. First one, all the pillars are, it's getting good sleep, good nutrition, hydration, movement, and relationship with ourselves and others. And while I know we all know about these things, they're not one and done. It's not like we know them one time and then, okay, I've got nutrition handled, right? Or movement handled, because our needs in each of these areas change as we change, as the circumstances around us change. So I actually keep a little sticky note to remind me of my 5 pivotal pillars: sleep, nutrition, hydration, movement, and relationships with self and others, because that way on a daily basis, I'm reminded me of these pillars that keep me strong and vital. I keep a sticky note with them so that I'm regularly reminded, because by the time I start to get off in any of these major areas, the last thing I'm thinking about is my 5 pivotal pillars. When I'm off or depleted, I'm really usually just thinking about chocolate at that point. So I like having it, kind of like, I like to work with a lot of accountability. We'll be speaking about that throughout today. Things that help me remember what my intentions are. So what I'd love to do, we'll start with sleep. Are y'all sleeping? Anybody getting good sleep? I'm seeing some head shaking in all directions. When I first had my son and he was an infant, I didn't think I would ever sleep again. And I kind of didn't for a long time. Then I had a period of time where I slept. Now my kid is a teenager and he's going out at nights. I'm back to not sleeping because, I don't sleep till he's back home, right? So my sleep has changed again, which means I really had to up my sleep game. And so what I'd like to do, I'm going to list off a bunch of options. And then if you want to play, I was thinking we could pick 3 things that we would be willing to incorporate tonight to see how it enhances our sleep, right? And if you want to have some accountability or some place to like lean into, I put a post on my Instagram page at Rev Julie Moret. You can list what your 3 things are. We're going to do them for all the pillars. And then we can check back in tomorrow and see how you're doing with it. if you want that level, that extra layer of accountability. So I'm going to list off a bunch of things with sleep. Maybe select 3 items you'd be willing to incorporate tonight. And if you have your own things that really work for you or that you love, put those in the chat. So let's put it all in the chat, because if you've got something that's awesome, it may inspire somebody else. Okay. So to up our sleep game, how about dimming the lights a couple of hours before bedtime, taking the overheads off, maybe changing to lamplight or candlelight even. This one's tough for me, but maybe y'all be better at it. Getting off of all screens a couple of hours before bedtime. Does anybody do that successfully? Okay, it's something to strive for. But that is like, the experts that talk about it say you want to get off of your screens or go to a blue screen. Is your room dark enough? And is there anything you can do if you're sleeping in a room that's not really, really dark? Is there anything you can do to make it darker? Or, would you be interested in wearing a night mask? Some other things. And y'all are in Arizona. Are y'all able to have a cool enough room at night? We're in the summertime. So that's a big one. And by the way, I was in Oro Valley last monsoon season. I didn't know y'all had a monsoon season. Oh my gosh. All right, so back to sleep. So what else? Making sure your bedroom is cool enough. It's usually in the high 60s, mid to high 60s is the sweet spot. Is your room quiet enough where you sleep? Do you have a sound machine or an air purifier that has a humming noise to it? Or do you wear earplugs? Any of those interest you to explore tonight? Playing quiet music or relaxing music before bedtime is always a good one. Getting a good physical exertion in during the day helps nighttime sleep. Limiting caffeine. We know that caffeine has a half-life of 8 hours. So whatever you drink, yeah, all right, but it's still kind of early. I see you, Madeline. So as it gets later in the day, just remember that caffeine has a half-life of 8 hours. So we want to keep that in mind. I like to do a little lavender oil on my pillow before bedtime. That's nice. As far as supplements go, and check with a health practitioner, but magnesium, calcium, melatonin, all those kinds of things. I also work with technology. This white band is a Whoop, WOOP, and it tracks not only the amount of sleep but the quality of sleep. So it helps really see what's going on with my sleep. And when I tell it what time I want to wake up in the morning, it tells me what time to go to bed at night to get good sleep. So you can work with technology. And then obviously limiting beverages and foods after dinner time. And then a couple of things, and these are what I'm going to do. This is going to be my commitment for tonight, because I forget about it a lot. When I have like stage makeup on right now from this morning. When I wash it all off, I'm going to say kind things to myself. Anybody want to jump in on that one with me? I'm going to say some kind things to myself. And I'm going to, when I'm putting on my creams tonight, I'm going to come up with at least 15 things for which I am grateful. So if you feel like it, you can put into the chat, maybe a couple of things that you would be willing to do tonight. So we're going to like keep each other accountable to up our sleep quality. And the reason why sleep is so important is because so much happens when we're sleeping. Our brains, everything about us gets restored. There's a quote that I saw recently where if somebody goes through a traumatic experience and they are able to sleep the first or second night after the event, they're able to heal significantly better from that event than somebody who doesn't get good sleep the first night. So you can play around with these things. I see somebody's going to be lowering the temp. Yeah, I was surprised by that. Like 65, 66, 67, lavender essential oil. Beautiful. Got it. So, I'm not going to let Sissy on the whole. I'm not going to let Sissy hog the whole bed. Yeah. Although, is Sissy a pet or is it a person? I don't know. A pet. Okay. But my husband wears a Whoop too, and his Whoop tracks, when you sleep with a pet in bed and when you don't. And his Whoop tells him he sleeps significantly better with the cat in the bed. So, I would have thought that would have been different. Saint Bernard, oy vey. Okay. Stop caffeine earlier. Yeah. So let's play around with some of that and then notice how it works for you. And if you want to plug it in on my Instagram or on your Instagram on your own Instagram page, however you want to do it, just so we have some accountability, and maybe we could plan again tomorrow night what we'll incorporate. So that's good sleep. That's one of the first pillars. The second pillar is nutrition. Nutrition is so important, and it changes. Our needs change as our bodies change at different times in our lives. So it's worth, if you haven't taken the time to take a look at, what does my body need now, right? I'm training for a big physical event. I'm into climbing mountains, and I started getting these massive headaches, and I didn't know why. And it turns out the old amount of protein and hydration I needed is now about half of what I need with my new endeavors, right? So taking the time. And so what I thought we could do is maybe pick one thing that your body would love for you to eat some more of, that you would be willing to do today, because it's still early enough in the day, and one thing that your body would like you to be eating a little less of, that you would be willing to eat less of today. So if you want to pick those two things, mine will be, and if you feel like playing, you can put it in the chat. I'm going to get some greens in me today. And I'm saying that because I really don't know how that's going to happen. But if I tell you, I don't know how I would look you in the Zoom and, not follow through. So I'm going to get some greens in today, protein and potato chips. Okay. I'm assuming protein is what you'll be having more of and potato chips less of, I will trust. Yeah. And for me, the less of today will be sugar. I have a sweet tooth. I don't need a ton of white sugar, but you can get sugar in all kinds of places. So I'm going to do a little of that today. And so we've got good sleep, good nutrition, hydration. Have you done the research? Do you know how much fresh, pure, clear, good quality water your body needs in a day? And y'all are in desert climate. I am too, in LA. How much water does your body need? So to do the research, because I used to go by the half your body weight in ounces of water rule of thumb, but now that's shifting for me, and I'm needing to have even more than that, which makes me feel very, I'm drinking a lot of water these days. Look, I've got these two things, got this, I'm like all watering up over here. So getting your hydration in is super important. And so how do you stay accountable for that? Sometimes I'll fill up a certain number of jugs the night before, so it's right on the kitchen counter and I know what I'm getting through. Sometimes I'll put it in my phone. I'll chart it throughout the day so I can keep track, because anytime I think I'm going to keep track in my mind, no, I always forget. So I like to be accountable. That's really important to me. So we're getting good sleep. These are pillars. And if any of you are thinking like, I thought this was supposed to be a spiritual talk, I don't know if there's anything more spiritual than taking care of our physical bodies. I have known way too many friends, dear friends, who were spiritual athletes, just spiritually so evolved, but they neglected the physical body, and then the physical body was gone. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited that we're going to take this time. This isn't necessarily the sexy talk to be talking about the basics, but it's so important. And these things literally save lives. So we've got good sleep, good nutrition, good hydration, and then movement. What kind of movement does your body want at this stage of your life? Strength training, cardio, flexibility, all the things, lifting weights. What does your body want? There was a time when I was big into power yoga. And then there was a time when I was into what I call roly-poly yoga, where I just kind of like lay on the ground and call it exercise. And now I'm in a new phase. So whatever phase you're in now, what does your body need? What does it want? One of the things that's so helpful for me, I love to go in my room and just blast music and dance with abandon. I shared this at Agape recently. I was doing that. I was in my room, just going for it, dancing free. And my husband came walking down the hallway, and I actually had the thought, like, dude is lucky, like he's so lucky, because I know as a fact that when I dance, I look just like Jennifer Lopez. So I'm clear about it, shaking my thing. And so that's what I was thinking. And my husband stopped. He stared at me for a couple of seconds because, like, how could you not? So sexy is what I was thinking. And then my husband said to me, why are you pretending to be one of those blow up noodle things outside of used car lots? That's like, not what I thought he was going to say at all. But I do keep dancing. Why? Because it floods my system with joy-filled tonic chemicals. I just lock the door now. So what kind of movement, and you could plug that in the chat if you like, what kind of movement works for you? What does your body want now? Ask me, what physical movement do I need today, and do it. Yeah. So let's make a commitment. If you feel like playing, that's what I'm here for. What would you be willing to do today? And maybe you don't have whatever your normal thing is today, but since I want to create some movement right now. So Janet said she's going to stretch, watch my dog for at least 30 minutes every day. Great. And does that include today, Amy? Yeah, well, I guess so, because your dog's going to need to go to the bathroom today. Yes. Okay, great. So what am I going to do today? I'm going to stretch. I'm going to make sure I get really good stretching in today. My body would love that. So, make a note. And, I saw that y'all are going to be back in person in 2 weeks. And I saw your newsletter. There are tons of opportunities. You have classes and workshops and all kinds of events. So when possible, work with an accountability buddy, if that's helpful to you, or a prayer partner, if that's helpful to you. I do best when I have somebody to be accountable to. There's a friend of mine, Pat Finn. I met him at Agape. He runs a company called Rubicon Results, and he gets people there. There were like 10 people per team. They're from all around the world. My accountability buddy is in Rome. And we would text each other at night, say what we're going to do the next day. And the next day we text each other and just share whether we did it, we didn't, and what our new goal is. So, that helps me. I do well having somebody to be accountable to. So y'all could buddy up, you can partner up, you can do what works. Wait, okay, I'm confused. Walk on the beach. So I guess everybody there is not in Arizona, unless you call just all the sand there beach without an ocean. Okay, I'm trusting that maybe, Cindy, you're in a different place than Arizona. Okay, so we've got getting good sleep, nutrition, hydration, movement, and then the final piece is relationships. And this is relationship with ourselves, and it's relationship with each other. So I mentioned earlier that these pivotal pillars that we're speaking about save lives. In the middle of the pandemic, a girlfriend of mine's teenage daughter became suicidal. Parents flew into action. They got her professional help immediately, but they also went through these 5 pivotal pillars right away. And then when they got to the area of relationship with others, they realized, our school system in LA, everything was shut down. So this is a teenager that hadn't been around other friends in months. And so the parents created a cohort. They started getting them to the beach on a weekly basis. And for her, that's all it took, just that physical contact. So to check in with yourself, how are you doing in the area of relationships? Do you have somebody that you can be your true self with, your authentic self, no masks, no filters, right? And if you don't have somebody like that in your life right now, couple of options: practice being somebody like that for someone else. The best way to get it is to be it. Also to be of service. I saw in your newsletter, there are tons of opportunities to be of service. There's something that happens, and this isn't just a shameless plug for you to serve your spiritual center, because I've spent decades serving mine. It's because there's something that happens. You've noticed this, I'm sure. When you are of service, it changes something. We feel better about ourselves. So that's one really powerful thing we can do. Also, I mentioned Pat Finn, my accountability person. I met him being of service. Some of my closest friends are people that I met being of service at our spiritual centers. So that's another option. And then the final piece is be a relationship with ourself. Are you being kind to yourself? Are you being good to yourself? That's why I made the commitment with you that tonight, when I take off all this paint, I'm going to say nice things to myself. I'm not going to, be picking out, wrinkles or discoloration or whatever. I'm going to be like, I love you. I'm proud of you. You're showing up. You're doing life, even with challenges. That's powerful. So I'd love to close out by doing just a little brief guided practice, and then we'll go into prayer around some self-love, right? And this is all big time self-care. So if none of y'all are driving or operating equipment or machineries, as far as I can tell. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just take a breath. Have a moment of gratitude that you gave yourself this time. Have a moment of appreciation to yourself. There are a million other things you could be doing right now. You could be scrolling Facebook, for goodness sake. But you're here and you showed up. And begin to say to yourself, what is it that you would love to hear yourself say to yourself? Something kind. I'm proud of you. We're doing well. We've had challenges. Boy, we've been through it. Oof. It's been a lot. Maybe it still is a lot. And I'm still showing up. I'm still saying yes. Maybe wrap your arms around yourself. Give yourself a hug. That physical gesture alone signals a message to our brains to release oxytocin, the happy hormone, the bonding hormone. It shifts our neurology, which then shifts our physicality, our biology. Just wrapping yourself up in a great big hug, letting yourself know, I love you. I gotcha. I'm with you. We're doing this. You're doing well. Come up with 5 things that you are proud of about yourself. That could be really hard for some of you. I don't want to hear a single thing about what you're not proud of. We've got laundry lists. We all do. 5 things that you are so proud of about yourself. My character, my faith, my trust, my willingness, my creativity. We've got this band that is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. 5 things that you're so proud of about yourself. And if you're having a struggle with that, I was going to start with 3, but I went for 5. I'm going big. If you're having a struggle with it, make it your practice for the next 21 days. Even if you're not having a struggle with it, make it your practice for 21 days. 5 things that I love about myself, that I'm grateful for about myself, that I am proud of about myself. And as you rest in this oasis of self-love and this washing with self-acknowledgement and appreciation, I'd just like to take this moment to become so keenly aware that there is one power, one presence, one source, one life, one divine life force energy that is everywhere, always, by whatever name you call it. God, Source, Gaia, Pachamama, by whatever name you call this presence that is never an absence. I'm so grateful to become keenly aware in this moment that as there is one presence that is everywhere, always, that has to mean that it is right where I am. I am always at one with this divine oneness. And as that is true for myself, I'm knowing with a certainty that it is true for each one hearing the word spoken in this moment. Always there is unification. Always there is connection, absolute oneness with God. And so it's from this place of clear unity with God, with Source, that I'm grateful to realize in this moment that whatever it is that we are longing for, whatever it is we desire, we are already associated, connected with it. As God is all love, all wholeness, all prosperity, all abundance, all knowledge, wisdom, creativity, union, connection, freedom, justice, grace, bliss, ecstasy. We are already connected with it. So in this very moment, I'm grateful to release out anything other than the divinity of source, anything other than the glory of God. And so I'm knowing that right where each one is, the presence of this divine, vital life force energy is flowing through, gushing through every cell, every organ, every action, every function within each one, tuning in this very moment, that all the cells get remembered unto themselves of their divine whole nature, that there is radiant wholeness, there is radiant brilliance and life and vitality, waking up all the neural pathways and neural networks, that something is being so renewed, so youthened, so rejuvenated. The organs are rejuvenating in this moment. Vitality is rejuvenating in this moment. Creativity and love and abundance and prosperity are upwelling and overflowing within every cell. I'm excited already to hear the testimonials. I'm excited already to hear the demonstrations as we move forward new and fresh, with a whole laundry list of new commitments and options that we can lean into on a regular basis, so that our pillars, the pillars of our lives, become enhanced and strengthened in the areas of sleep and nutrition and hydration and movement and relationships with self and others. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I bless this Center for Spiritual Living in Tucson. I bless it with all needs met. I'm so grateful for everybody stepping into leadership. I'm so grateful for everybody stepping into service. I'm so grateful for everybody showing up in person in 2 weeks. I'm so grateful for everybody streaming. I'm so grateful for this beautiful gift to humanity and to Earth called Center for Spiritual Living Tucson. I bless it. I declare all of this good and very good. I release the word, knowing it is a law unto itself. I allow it to be, saying, and so it is. Amen. Amen, amen. Thank you. Such a pleasure to be with y'all. I get all worked up when I pray and I'm like swinging this way and that way, but I'm here. I'm with you. Thank you. Pleasure to be with you today. And band, you are glorious.
Thank you.
Wow, glorious.
I think you need to end the recording.
Recording in progress.